Good evening. My name is Danielle Johnson, and I am here today to bring light to a huge issue we are now seeing in early childhood education: inadequate funding. Inadequate funding is a direct correlation to failing to invest in many of our children. Our children are our future, and ensuring the schools have adequate funding is imperative. One of the very first steps in order for our students to succeed is for our public schools to require funding formulas that promote fairness. When we choose to underfund our schools, we are choosing to academically deprive our children now, as well as build many barriers for our children to succeed in their futures. For this reason, I am here today to be a strong advocate for further funding for our schools. Based on a study Grimshaw completed in 2020, he stated the United States is underfunding its K-12 public schools by nearly $150 billion annually, robbing more than 30 million school children of the resources they need to succeed in the classroom. Based on this data, I am left thinking of the many key stakeholders who are directly impacted with this issue. The first and most important stakeholders are the students themselves. We also have the students' families and guardians, of course, our teachers, administrators, custodians, and other school staff members. Then finally, our entire community, including neighbors, local law enforcement, local business owners, and religious communities. These key stakeholders have a vested interest in ensuring that our educational system is effective and meets the needs of all learners. Inadequate funding in our public schools causes a ripple effect. Various programs that should be provided to the children suffer due to underfunding. Underfunding also makes it very difficult to provide necessary supplies to the classroom, hiring experienced teachers, as well as maintaining the facilities adequately. Teachers are often left with the financial burden to purchase their own supplies in their classroom. Additionally, teachers are often feeling overworked and burnt out due to staffing shortages. Investing in our children is essential. They deserve to have the materials necessary to excel. Our children should have the best programs at their fingertips, and they should be learning in a safe environment that is properly maintained. I firmly believe that every child is able to achieve academic greatness when they have the proper tools at hand. When we are left with these two vital questions: how does underfunding in our schools happen? And what can we do to mitigate this issue? As stated by the Economic Policy Institute, historically, education funding generally is inadequate and inequitable. It relies too heavily on state and local resources, particularly property tax revenues. The federal government plays a small and insufficient role. Funding levels vary widely across states, and high poverty districts get less funding per student than low poverty districts. In order to mitigate underfunding in our public schools, we need to get state and local resources on our side. We absolutely need further aid from the federal government, and we need the support from influential individuals and organizations to help bring light to our cause. Having support in our local early childhood education agencies, such as Arizona Early Childhood Education Association and Arizona Head Start Association, will be extremely beneficial. These agencies have the following and resources already in place to further educate the population of the importance of adequate funding in the classroom. In the words of Miriam Wright, if we don't stand up for the children, then we don't stand for much. Let us all stand up for our children and fight for adequate funding in our schools. Let us provide our children with the technology, programs, and resources needed to achieve academic excellence. Thank you, stakeholders, for joining our cause to end inadequate funding in our schools.